Oh hi, this won't be a rant trying to shame you if you eat meat. I ate meat for ages, and meat is clearly delicious, that's why we still eat it. This is more directed at folks who are flirting with the idea of giving up meat, but are maybe held back by thinking it's an inconvenient lifestyle or something. Because if you want to, but you're hesitating, going meat-free is actually extremely easy and painless, and the best argument I can muster to convince you to do so while being excruciatingly hungover on a boiling hot Sunday goes as follows. Modern factory farming is double plus fucked. We confiscate the kids of milking cows from their mamas, and they're really not fine with this. We keep millions and millions of battery hens in a space about as big as an A4 sheet of paper their entire lives, and they're really not fine with this. If you want to ruin your day by looking into factory farming, just a YouTube search will take you to a very, very dark place. I don't recommend it, but however we feel about eating meat, for or against, I suspect almost all of us can probably agree that the meat industry itself is beyond cruelty. Which is weird because no one that isn't a sociopath would ever dream of kicking a cat or a dog or being mean to a baby, because we recognize that even if something is sillier than us, inside a cat or a doggo or a baby's brain is the same kind of apparatus as ours, and if we mistreat them, they will feel pain like we feel pain. With our infants, with our pets, it doesn't matter that they're dummies. Intelligence isn't a consideration in our morality. We just know it's messed up to hurt them, so we don't. Almost all of us intuitively understand this. What made a vegetarian out of me years ago was stumbling on a video of a cow in an abattoir, which is where animals are slaughtered, and she was clearly freaking out, terrified, and the abattoir workers were patting her and going shh, shh, trying to calm her down, and at some point she began to trust them and calm down, and then they shot her in the head with a fucking bolt gun. And I thought, check please, this is not for me. Because the only thing that matters to me personally, and I hope to you too, with the meat question, is sentience. How conscious are animals? If animals are NPCs, if they're just robots, we can do whatever we want to them. It doesn't matter. But no one actually thinks they're NPCs. Look at the outrage at some idiot leaving a dog in a hot car, or a dentist going on safari to kill a lion or whatever. The internet goes ballistic. We do care in specific circumstances, but generally only about the cutie patooties, usually. Dolphins, whales, elephants, cats, etc. Not the poor ones who have the audacity to taste delicious. Either all of them deserve fair treatment, or none of them do. And to me, the root of whether we give a damn about them shouldn't be if they can do tricks or they're fluffy, but if they feel pain like we feel pain. And we clearly know they do. As Jeremy Bentham put it, the question is not can they reason or can they talk, but can they suffer? And there is currently a moral gap wider than the fucking Grand Canyon in our civilization between how we treat animals we eat and how we treat animals we love. And I think we should solve this contradiction one way or the other. Again, if animals are just robots, we can do whatever. We can use poodles as footballs, it doesn't make a difference. All animal cruelty is fine. But no one except monsters would do something like that. And the only other way to resolve the contradiction is to decide that no animal cruelty is fine. Because they can feel pain and they do have internal lives, and we're not going to do this anymore. Rant over, that's the shape of the thing. It's fun being righteously indignant. I can feel the hangover easing up already. Now, in the unlikely event that did convince you, let's talk food, because this is the easiest and most fun time in history to go meat-free. If you're into the idea, there are a bunch of meat imitations available now, and they're lovely. To the argument, if you don't eat meat, why would you eat food trying to simulate meat? I generally just reply these days, have you ever slept with someone and used contraception? Was the experience any less for one of you not getting pregnant or an STD? Replicating an experience without incurring the negative consequences doesn't have to ruin the experience itself. I still love the texture of meat, I won't lie, and I eat lots and lots of soya imitations. Unfortunately named Satan or Seitan is my favorite. It's almost like beef. Actually, the only meat I've found that you can't believably replicate is bacon. I don't know why. Everything else is basically there now. Beyond Meat is amazing, and lab-grown meat probably ain't far off either. Jolly good. Now onto the social bit. Going to dinner with our meat-eating friends isn't that tricky, not as I found on my travels anyway. The meat-free movement is growing and growing, and especially if you live in a city, I bet you'd be surprised at just how easy it is to eat out in the evening without eating meat. What about vitamins and stuff? Really, if you're in decent health and you have a balanced vegetarian diet, you probably don't need to supplement. If it's veganism you're interested in, you might need to supplement with B12. I'm aware some folks do get lethargic for a bit when they switch to meat. I'm not sure what the problem is, but all I can say is I've been meat-free for at least 10 years now, and I can still run as far, and my energy is the same, even factoring in the fact that I am now kinda, sort of, fucking old, and I don't like it. The main problem you will run into is not dietary, but argumental. As in, someone assuming you must be a sanctimonious dickhead or something for not eating meat. I see lots of memes online deriding vegetarians and vegans as up themselves, and to be completely honest, I have encountered a few idiots like this. Those folks who would sooner call you evil than try to understand where you're coming from with still eating meat. I have been that person myself. A few months ago, a friend and I were absolutely smashed, and somehow we got onto the no meat thing, and bolstered by 2 bottles of wine, I said something like, "Hey, you love your dog, but you're sat here eating meat. Do you really love animals? Don't you see the contradiction?" And she said very calmly, but very firmly, "You're going to want to put that gun down now, because you're not going to like what happens when I pick mine up. Because I'm only going to say, hey, great work on the no meat thing, but by the way, hey, nice phone you've got there. Any idea where the tantalum and tungsten in that phone came from? Do you want to talk about conflict minerals and the child mining labour you're supporting with your purchasing choices so you can take photos of your fucking cat, Mr. Moral?" And she was right, of course. Most people do love animals, but the world is complicated and human morality is complicated, and if we behave like moralizing idiots to our friends and family, it's not gonna work. There'll just be even more, for every animal you don't eat, I'm gonna eat 10 t-shirts, more memes, etc. We idolize and respect people who are nice to us, not those who call us stupid. And every now and then, a mate will ask why you're doing the no meat thing, and you'll explain, and then they'll start eating less meat or stop entirely, and that is a win for animals, light years beyond calling someone a carnivore dick at your sister's birthday party or whatever. Look, it's taken a while, but the arc of moral progress is bending in the right direction. Finally, women are like actually legally people, in many parts of the world anyway. Finally, we're moving away from hitting kids or judging someone's character by how much melanin they have in their skin. We are trying to get to a good place. I believe we will get there. But the animal thing, this is another hill we're going to have to climb at some point, in my opinion. And I hope there will be a revolution about this where we put our foot down and say, what the fuck are we doing? Why are we mistreating conscious creatures like this? I don't know if that revolution will be in our lifetimes, but in the meantime, just by purchasing power alone, just by not buying this stuff, by not facilitating it, we can make a huge, huge difference. There are grey areas, obviously, like maintaining ecosystems by culling or medical testing on animals. I don't have a good answer to those, and if I was on a desert island stranded with just a pig and myself, sorry Oinkington, you're going in my mouth. But factory farming as it stands today is beyond cruelty, and it is unlikely that our great-great-grandchildren will regard us kindly for letting it continue. This is the best time in history to go meat-free, and in lots of parts of the world, it's the easiest time too. As before, I haven't noticed any obvious reduction in my energy levels. If you're anemic or have health conditions, totally understood. No judgment here. God, the Dalai Lama eats meat sometimes. Or if you just aren't interested, then yeah, fair enough. But if you are interested, if going meat-free is something you would like to do, it's easy, it's delicious, and we can kick animal cruelty right in the dick if enough of us just stop buying this stuff. So if you would like to come over to Team Vegetarian or Team Vegan sometime, it's not really much hassle to do, and there's balloons and cake and beer, and we'd just be ever, ever so happy to have you.